No, at the beginning of the movie, a woman is seen sitting on a bridge singing a lullaby to a doll. Suddenly, she bursts into maniacal laughter and jumps into the river with the dog. The scene then shifts to a man. Imagine this: a fisherman, out at sea in his boat, pulling up his nets, discovers not fish, but a doll. In his confusion, he aggressively tears its head off and casts it aside. But oh no, the doll's head magically reattaches itself. Spooked, he decides to keep it aboard. Now, as he fishes in uneasy silence, a chilling voice breaks the quiet. He spins around, and there's a mysterious woman inquiring about her doll. In a blink, she vanishes, only to reappear on his boat with an eerie laugh, questioning why he'd ripped the head off her doll. Before he can react, he's suddenly grabbed and pulled under the water, never to be seen again. Meanwhile, back on land, a nanny finishes telling this spine-tingling tale to a group of wide-eyed kids. One curious girl asks if that mysterious woman, the Mada, takes children too. The nanny ominously confirms she does. What a hauntingly thrilling story, wouldn't you say?
Well, isn't it just another riveting day by the riverbank? The moral of today's story, kids: steer clear of rivers, or the river monster will whisk you away. Just then, as if punctuating the drama, a woman bursts onto the scene, announcing the late hour. The nanny, always on cue, corrals the little ones, promising more spine-tingling tales tomorrow. As the kids scatter, sending birthday cheers to Nung, she shares a quiet moment by the water, wrapped in a comforting hug from her nanny. Later that evening, home comes Nung's mom, Lee, greeted by the concerned nanny. Turns out, Lee missed Nung's once-a-year birthday celebration. Why? Because another local wept over her missing husband, and Lee, the ever-committed body fisher, was on a relentless search. Ever thought of quitting? Queries the nanny. No can do. Lee shoots back. This job picked me. Cue the flashback. Lee by the river, with a diver breaking the tough news. No luck finding the lost husband. Brace yourselves, the plot thickens.
Husband's body has probably been carried away to the big river. You should go home. It's not good for a pregnant woman to be here. But Lee continues sitting by the river. Suddenly she spots her husband's body floating near the shore. She rushes into the river to hold him. Her cries is echoing through the stillness. The scene then transitions back to the present. The nanny gently tells Lee, "N needs you." Lee replies, "N has you. I know she's safe with you." The nanny chuckles softly and says, "Get some rest," and leaves. In a flashback, we see Lee moving into a new place with N. Nanny shows them around and helps them settle in. She asks Nung her name and Nung shyly tells her, forming an immediate bond. In the present, we see Lee dropping children off on the other side of the river for school. She looks at Nung and asks gently, "Are you mad at me?" She explains, "I had work, that's why I couldn't come on time." Nung replies, "I'm alright." So picture this: Nung is already jittery from a prior spooky encounter. Out of nowhere, she spots this mysterious woman again, and drama unfolds. Her buddy, thinking it's a bit of a laugh, decides to scare her even more, because, why not, and pretends to check the place, banging on doors, playing the classic, "There's no one here" card. But Nung isn't having any of it. "It's right behind you," she insists, but, plot twist, there's no one there. Fast forward to later, Nung and her crew are casually strolling home from school, when one of them suggests a shortcut through the woods, because that always ends well, right? Nung's already getting those not so good vibes when, boom, she hears her name being whispered. And guess who? It's the eerie woman again. Despite pointing her out, her friend sees zilch. That evening, still spooked, Nung spills the beans to her mom, trying to make sense of these bizarre womanly apparitions. What a day, huh? Talk about ghostly troubles. Out to me saying, "Come here." Her mother sternly warns her, "Never follow a stranger," and Nung agrees. Just then someone calls out to Lee saying that Hong's body has surfaced. Lee rushes to the river and retrieves Hong's lifeless body from the water using her boat. The villagers begin murmuring about the sudden deaths in the village. Some whisper about Mada, speculating that it might take more lives. Lee silences them and comforts Hong's grieving wife, saying, "You must live for your children and for your husband's memory." Later, Le priest at a small temple by the river before leaving quietly. Next, we see Hong's lifeless body in a hospital with Ba and two men present. One of the men says Hong was a good swimmer. How could he drown? He continues, "People are saying there's Mada in our village." Ba replies, "There are two reasons why Mada takes people. One is spiritual compatibility and the other is if someone taunted her." Ba then points at Hong Long and says, "Look, he's smiling." In a spine-tingling scene, two guys are completely spooked and hightail it out of the room. Then Ba gets his ritual groove on, but lo and behold, a coin drops. He pops this eerie token into Hong's mouth, and whoosh! home starts shaking like a leaf, and water starts pouring out like a burst pipe. Ba can't even, he's totally freaked out. Come sunrise, there's Lee asking who to scoop up Nung from school. That evening, who's checking out Nung's doll and is like, yikes, what's with the hair? Tries to give it a little salon treatment but oops, pops the head right off. Poor Nung starts bawling, and in a slapstick rescue, who sticks the head back on, the wrong way. While they're walking, Nung stops. She swears there's that eerie woman again. Who looks, sees nada. He's trying to keep it together, you know? That night, the mysteries just keep stacking up. What a wild ride, huh?
As Nung clings to her mother in tears, she recounts the eerie sighting of the angry woman in the red dress. Drenched and fierce, she seemed out to get Nung but vanished at the last second thanks to her brother Hugh. With Nung inconsolable, Lee assures her of his disbelief. Fast forward and we're on a boat with Hugh, minding his own business until a mysterious empty boat collides with his. As he investigates, spooky bubbles start to surface. Bloop, bloop, splash, and suddenly, he's yanked underwater by an unseen force. Panicking, Lee gets wind of the disappearance and decides to split up the search party. Half by land, half by river. Over to you, aquatic ghost hunter.
Imagine this, a woman, in a mystic twist, breaks a plate, ties one of the shards to a thread, and chucks it into the river. She gazes as it drifts purposefully, how curious. Jump cut to Lee's house, where Nung confesses her fears to the nanny, begging her to stay the night. The nanny, ever so soothing, promises to stick around while she busies herself with chores, softly closing the door on her way out. Meanwhile, Lee's by the river, frantically searching for Hugh, but alas, no sign of him. In a blend of hope and desperation, she lights incense sticks and prays. But the plot thickens as she turns on the tap and something's jammed in there. What the heck? And boom, there's Hugh, claiming he's stuck and it's frosty down there. But, twist, it's all a dream. Gasp. Still shook, Lee fires up more incense, splashes holy water like it's a potion, and then, splash, dives into the river, determined to unravel the mystery of who is submerged in the watery depths. Hold your breath, folks. In a thrilling turn of events, our hero dives with the swiftness of a dolphin to rescue Hugh, who's caught in a treacherous net underwater. With a cutter in hand, she plunges back into the murky depths, slices through the net like it's butter, and triumphantly hauls Hugh's soggy self back to safety, or does she? Back on dry land, terror switches scenes and creeps into Nung's room, where a rebellious window flaps open, not once, not twice, but 3 shock-filled times. Amidst her panic, Nung fears a spectral visitor as she hears the squelch of damp footsteps. Just when the suspense peaks, Mada materializes beside her, setting off a scream that could wake the dead. In dashes Nanny to the rescue, assuring her that it's all a figment of her imagination, but over in Hugh's corner, reality strikes hard. As his mother stumbles upon her son, chillingly still, an embrace full of heartbreak encapsulates the scene, turning tears into an uncontrollable river of sorrow. What a roller coaster of emotions. In a drama-packed scene at the temple, our protagonist Lee is drowning in sorrow. She tries to find solace by lighting incense and whispering prayers. As she departs, she ties her headcloth to a tree branch, only to witness the temple lights start a funky flicker dance. Boom! Her headcloth bursts into flames, drips blood, then, plot twist, it all disappears. It was just a vision, folks. Meanwhile, back at the hospital, B is witnessing his own share of spooky flickers. He spins around to a horrifying sight, yikes, the corpse he was guarding is gone. But wait, there it is again, only now it's all mixed up, head where the feet should be. And just when you think it can't get weirder, the corpse sits up. Wake up call, it's just a nightmare, or is it? Absolutely rattled, B checks again. Now there's water dripping from the corpse's mouth, because why not add more creepiness? In a frenzy, he opens a cabinet looking for explanations and finds Hugh, but nope, the cabinet's empty again. With his heart probably pounding out of his chest, he grabs his ritual tools from that very cabinet, because apparently, he's going to need them. Imagine this, it's another twist in the chilling tale. Hugh's gone missing, again, and there he is, poof, right in front of Ba, who wakes up in a cold sweat. Cut to the next scene, a sunny market day, with Lee picking out vegetables. Ba drops a chilling hint, Mada, the mysterious might-be villain, might have taken little Hugh. Why? Nobody knows, but warning bells are ringing, because it sounds like Lee might be next on the mystery list. Back at home, things get even spookier. Nong spots a doll doing the backstroke in the river and, splash, it vanishes underwater just as she tries to grab it. And just when you thought it couldn't get any worse, bam! Mada swoops in, snatching Nong by the leg and pulling her into the river's murky depths. Lee, in a panic, dashes outside, spots Nong's lonely slipper by the water, and dives into a frantic search. Oh, where could dear Nong be? In a whirl of incense and fervent prayers, Lee douses herself in holy water and takes a daring plunge into the river. She's hunting for her missing daughter, Nong, diving to the murky depths, but alas, nothing. Heartache strikes as she recalls Nong's tales of mysterious women. Tearfully alone in her boat, Lee's determination never wanes. She searches day and night to no avail. In a twist of fate, she turns to shaman Mr. Luong, who suggests a spine-chilling ritual known as the Death Eyes Switching Technique. A body needed to bridge the cosmic gap, but wait, Lee volunteers herself. Despite Luong's eerie warnings of feeling a waterlogged pool, she dons a sacred symbol band around her eyes. As the shaman's prayers fill the air, Lee's plunged into an aquatic realm, transported to a watery world of spirits. Realm Luang sends Lee on an epic underwater quest to find Nang. Determined, she maneuvers her way through the twisty river. Just as Lee spots Nang, bam! Mada appears, blocking her path. Get this, Mada goes full ninja, trying to strangle Lee and drag her into the river's depths. Meanwhile, back on dry land, Luong's feeling the heat of the ritual literally, with his hands burning up. Cut to real-world chaos, Lee pops awake, her shout pierces the air, Nong is alive. She spots the burn marks on Luong's hands just as he keels over. Talk about intense, right? Flash forward, Lee's on her boat, hauling unconscious Luong, who, surprise surprise, suddenly jolts back to life. Fast forward a bit, Lee plunges back into the river, eyes set on the place she saw Nong. She swims furiously, finally embraces Nong, turning their reunion into an aquatic hug fest. Meanwhile, our man Luong's at home, casually fetching water, when oh creep alert, he spots Mada chilling by the river. Spooky much? And just when you thought things couldn't get any spookier, there she goes. In a heart-stopping leap, our daring heroine dives right into the river, clutching the dude's feet with nothing but her hair. Talk about a hair-raising experience, right? He topples over with a splash, and, folks, they disappear into the murk, but fear not. Lee, ever the hero, expertly secures Nong onto her back. Talk about multitasking, swimming and baby wrangling simultaneously. She makes it back safely and shifts into supermom mode, tending to Nong like a pro. Later at the hospital, Lee unravels the tale, implicating poor Luong and pointing fingers at the vengeful spirit Mada. When's Nong's birthday? Asks Ba. The December full moon, Lee replies. Bam! That's the exact anniversary of that tragic day the women plunged into despair off that bridge. Cue chilling flashback, night falls, and while Lee snoozes, Nong, apparently channeling her inner ghost, tiptoes out. Destination? The river. Yup, no bedtime story tonight, folks. Lee snaps awake and it's a race against the clock to the river where Nong's drawn once again to the watery depths. As the storm rages on and the river goes wild, Lee swoops in heroically to whisk Nong back to safety. The very next day, he takes her to Ba for a dash of the supernatural fix. Yes, Nong is possessed. Ba, armed with his trusty ritual toolkit, senses the trouble brewing. As he starts his mysterious mumbo-jumbo, things get spooky with flickering lights and Nong turning into a bit of a wild child. Amidst the chaos, a coin drops from Ba's arsenal. With a flick of his wrist, he pops the coin into Nong's mouth, and voila! She starts spewing water and pebbles like a possessed garden fountain. Intrigued and a tad puzzled, Lee quizzes Ba about his coin trick. Ba, with a twinkle in his eye, shares that it's an exorcism special from his old pal Mada. Apparently, it's kryptonite for pesky spirits. From her eavesdropping nook, Nong catches every word. Lee, ever the curious fisher, prods further, and Ba reveals a snippet of his tragic past, once a fisher of both fish and bodies, but alas, couldn't save his own family. Why Nong? Lee wonders. Ba, with a wise nod, murmurs, maybe it's spiritual, leaving us hanging on the edge of our seats.
Late one eerie night, Lee steps outside to rinse a cloth, when suddenly, she's serenaded by Mon's singing. But just as she's soaking in the vibes, the tune vanishes into thin air. Trying to shake it off, Lee witnesses the lights throwing a mini disco, flickering like crazy. Then, amid the aquatic concert, a mysterious doll surfaces in a water container. Driven by curiosity, Lee reaches for the doll, but as soon as she touches it, bam, possessed. With a newfound eerie energy, she lurches towards Nung, grabbing her by the hair. Ba jumps into the fray, pushing Lee back with all his might. But she's not having it. Possessed Lee storms back in, hunting down Ba and Nung. She yanks the curtain back, and what does Ba do? Wham! He throws a stretcher her way. The scuffle intensifies. Lee, fueled by her ghostly hitchhiker, grabs Nung by the hair again. Ba attempts to play the hero, but Lee, still not herself, clasps him by the neck. Imagine a cinematic showdown of epic proportions. Lee, grappling with a monstrous force, drags Nung across the room. But bam! Nung spots the magic coin. Escaping from Lee's clutches, she stumbles upon the nanny, only to witness Lee's supernatural grip tighten around the nanny's neck. A real nail-biter, huh? Then, in a twist straight out of a blockbuster, Lee yanks Nung by her hair all the way to the bridge, ranting about destinies and descendants. Talk about family drama. Just when you think it's curtains for Nung, she cleverly pops the coin into Lee's mouth. Boom! The evil spirit Madama is expelled, leaving Lee crumpled on the ground. But wait, there's more. As Madama reappears, seeking her next victim, Nung's mother, La, does the unthinkable. She grabs another coin, because why have one when you can have two? Stuffs it into Nung's mouth, and together with Madama, she takes a high dive into the river. Cue the action music. Nung, left on the bridge, starts a poignant plea, while below the water's surface, it's an all-out brawl between La and Madama.
Just when you think you've seen it all, the plot delivers a jaw-dropping twist. There's Lee, climbing back onto the bridge, her face smeared with relief and triumph. But wait, the drama's not done. Amidst a tearful reunion, Lee believes she's embracing Nung. But oh, the heartbreak, folks. There isn't anybody there. It turns out, our dear Lee has been grappling with her own mind, hugging thin air with all her might, convinced she's holding Nung close. As the camera pans out, Nanny and Ba, witnessing the whole scene, wear expressions that could sink ships, pure sadness. Nanny, with a gentle step, approaches Lee to deliver the gut-wrenching news that Nung is no more. Can you imagine the horror on Lee's face as she frantically looks around, pleading with desperate hope? But I just held her. She's safe, she's still alive. She cries. Talk about a chilling moment that sends shivers down your spine.
Hold on to your seats, folks, because this tale just took a spooky twist. So, picture this, Mada, our eerie spirit, apparently has a buddy list, and only those with the right, spiritual vibe, yes, you heard it, get a visit. Now, cut to a few days later, the villagers stumble upon a fetus hidden away. I'm telling you, the plot thickens in such an old school, creepy way that you can't help but get chills and chuckles at the same time.